The Buschy and Bobo Show, a healthy scratch podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Busch and Brian Rager.
Welcome back to the Buschy and Bobo Show, episode 39, brought to you by water.
Potato.
Michelob Ultra. Do you like Michelob Ultra? Then you're a... Anyway.
Healthy beer.
I got
only 90 calories.
That's the key to marathon training for sure. Because
Absolutely.
there's a lot of
marathon bod?
Yeah, that's how I'm using Michelob to cut down. Is it working?
No.
Shut up, man.
No, not one bit.
Okay. Well, anyway, we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're going to start with an expansion team winning the Stanley Cup. 6 years.
He said he was going to do it within 6 years.
I hate Bill Foley.
He said he was going to do it within 6 years.
I don't care.
Why do you hate it?
Because it happened. You know how much Leafs
reject.
fans must hate him? We're going to get it done in 6 years, and then they've killed it. It's been like 6 decades.
It's true.
It's so great. That's the funniest part of it. But what did you think of the Stanley Cup final?
I actually was pretty interested in it. Like I actually was watching. Yeah, I didn't think I would be after like the conference finals because I really didn't give a shit about that. But the actual cup finals, I found myself like watching it daily, like every night, and it was. Said I had no dog in the fight or whatever it is, Mike Vick. But
woo, Mike Vick was automatic in fantasy football for a few years. I had no dog in the fight either, but like I said before, we've got a video out there. Like I didn't care. To be honest with you, I didn't watch anything. I saw like 2 minutes of the one overtime where I think Florida won. I think they won in overtime, right? I don't even remember. Nothing memorable happened in the series. But then I did watch the last like 7 minutes of Game 5 when it was like 7-2.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, okay, I want to watch the Stanley Cup celebration, right? But like, it's hard to even look at the matchup and go, wow, I'm intrigued by this. Like, it's an expansion team that has had success since day one, right? That has had no hardships at all, right?
Well,
and they just won it. So I understand some fan bases being like, they don't even understand what it means to like win the Stanley Cup. Like, yeah, you won it, but you've been good since you started.
But the players on the team, they've been part of other teams that maybe have been in that drought. So
I know, but I'm talking about the fans. Like the players, yeah, I understand that they
they know what's happening.
Yeah, they know what's happening. The fans, I don't think they do. Now I know you went to Vegas and said, okay, there's a lot of like
it's a hockey town, but
right. But at the same time, it's like, do you think it means more? Like, for example, okay, you have never seen the Canucks win a Stanley Cup.
Nope.
Never seen it done, right?
Nope.
Probably never will with the way they're going. We'll talk about them.
Yeah.
But what would it mean? You've been so close.
Twice.
Game 7.
Twice.
Now, I mean, like the last time you were 5 years old?
Yeah.
94, right? So I don't know if you really were like.
But 2011 though, it's just like we're Game 7. And it's just.
Bobo was in the streets rioting. He's the one that was flipping cars, setting them on fire.
One-handed.
There's no shot. There's no way. But like, wouldn't it mean so much more? Like that's
where
where
fan base,
yeah. But it's something where, like, I've seen Stanley Cups. I've seen the Super Bowl. You've seen the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so understand.
I've seen a couple Super Bowls. So,
but at the same time, for the Canucks to have never won it, and then eventually, like, say they did, right? In the next few years, like, holy shit, it would mean so much more.
For on the fans itself, it would mean more. Like, who would like for the fan base itself? Yeah, what would mean more? Toronto winning a cup or Vegas?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with the fans, right?
Yeah.
So
for the fans, I get what you're saying there.
Right.
But as for
now, like, did you watch the Selly at all? After they won. Now, like, because
some of it after a while, because it wasn't necessarily.
It was 9-3. Like, they knew they were going to win, like, halfway through the game.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to win the cup, which is so rare. So I think that was part of it where I'm like, I wanted to be, like, down to the wire. Like, if you don't have a dog in the fight, you want to see Game 7, double OT, something like that. Instead, we got a game.
Winner.
Yeah, like a Game 5, blowout, like not even close. No, like Matthew Tkachuk not playing, that's another thing. Do you see those injuries?
All the injuries there. Ekblad playing through a bunch of injuries.
Oh my God! I mean, Tkachuk broke his sternum. they had to like help him get ready.
Yeah, I said his brother was there with him, just trying to help get out of bed, dress him, and tie his skates and shit.
Here's where it's fun to be online because there's some softies that are like, the team doctor should be fired for that. It's like, listen, man, it's his call. Like,
you're in the Stanley Cup Finals. You're going to try to do everything you can to help.
This isn't new. This happens every year. Like Bergeron played with like cracked ribs and a fucking, severed spine, and his orbital bone was falling out, and his eye was
100+ games now, and
it's gonna happen, man. And like, this is the ultimate thing for these guys. They get paid a lot of money to play, so like, if they can physically play, right? And I'm sure they go through. Here's like the pros and cons. If you play, could you hurt it more, or what's the worst case scenario? And I'm sure Matthew Tkachuk tried to play.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he played through it with Game 4. I guess you couldn't do it with Game 5.
Yeah, like
I'm not even fault the guy because he must have been. Yeah, he must have been in extreme pain.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Like, so, but I found the celebration, maybe it was a little bit lackluster for me because like they knew the game was over for so much longer. So like the emotion had already seeped out a little, and the moment had kind of already happened of like the realization of like, holy shit, we're gonna win the Stanley Cup. Usually it's in the last few minutes where you're like, we got it, empty netter, like, oh my God, we win. But did you find it kind of quiet in that arena?
No.
After they won, I just like, I don't know, people were on their phones, like no one gave a shit.
It's not as loud as I think it could have been. Like I said, if it was a 1 or 2 goal win or whatnot like that. And I think
do you think it was partly like maybe like the audio and I don't know, like if it was just
before
kind of something, like I don't know.
TV.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where like they went on the ice with like 12 seconds left because they just were like, we're backing up. The Panthers like, we're out. I'm sure if it was like pickup hockey, like halfway through the third, they would have been like, all right, let's just go home.
Yeah.
We're done. This is so dumb.
We're done. Just get off the ice.
I thought the Selly could have been a little bit better. What really bothered me, like, okay, picture you're in the Stanley Cup final. You're on, let's say we're both on Vegas, right? Okay. Let's say I'm Mark Stone.
Yeah.
Okay. Stanley Cup, boom, I'm ready to go. So lift the cup. I do a lap because Stone did a lap.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. But then every other guy just did a little pirouette, like went, to the camera and back. And that was it. And it was like, woo,
there's no lap.
Guys, you waited your whole life and worked your whole life for this moment. What are we doing here?
Especially since like half these guys haven't even won anything.
Yeah.
Over half of them haven't won anything.
It's just weird that they just didn't like take an extra second to go that the emotion. I don't know. It was just like, you're obviously going to party, and they party.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, did you see William Karlsson last night?
No.
He was drunk as shit at the parade.
Good.
He did a 2-minute speech. They had to take the microphone away from him.
Good.
It was so funny.
They got free lap dances for life.
They were all shirtless and shit.
They got free lap dances for life at a strip club.
What do you expect? You give like a drunk hockey player a microphone. He's going to say something outrageous.
It's
right?
good, yeah.
So, but now another thing that was like one of the storylines that wasn't really talked about that much, but was interesting was Marchessault and Riley Smith, which is Riley Smith got the cup first, right?
Yeah.
Marchessault won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Both of those guys, you remember where they came from?
They came from Florida.
From Florida in the expansion draft, right? Do you remember, quick quiz here, do you remember what happened? So I think it was basically like, we'll give you Riley Smith so that you pick Jonathan Marchessault, which means you're not picking blank player. Remember who that player was?
No, I don't.
Would it shock you if I said Alex Petrovic? Do you know who that is? Oh, he's in the minors with the Texas Stars.
Oh, I was gonna say, let me just pull up a nice Google search here.
He's in the AHL. So wow, Dale Talon. Good job, bud.
What a play there.
Yeah. And another thing that happens every year is the whole Canada doesn't have a cup thing.
Oh, yeah. Another year with the cup without Canada, but meanwhile, how many players on Vegas were right there? 16 are Canadian.
How many for Florida?
13.
That's a lot. That's a lot of players.
It's over half your roster.
I'll never understand that mindset. I think I've talked about it before in a previous episode we did, where in like 2004, I was in grade 7 or 8, and we had an assembly, and for some reason they were like, "Who's going for Calgary?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, Canada." Who's going for Tampa? I was like, "Me." Like their best players were Canadian.
Yeah.
It was LeCavier, St. Louis, and Richards, right? I was like, this is something where like, we can basically have this. What about the Panthers logo cup patch? Okay, so like the cup patch, you were talking about something that I didn't know. Now they had it on the same side as the captains A and C.
So Florida had it on that side on their white jerseys. Vegas had it on their gold jerseys because both of them had ads on the other side.
Okay.
On Vegas's away jersey and Florida's home jersey, there were no ads.
Okay.
So they had the cup patch on the other side.
Did you find that like everybody that had the patch on the one side, they all looked like they were assistant captains? Like everybody.
Yeah, and it looked weird because you had the cup, like first row guys that were assistant captains or a captain or whatnot. You have a patch and you got the other one there, so it's just like
remember when the Wings won the cup?
What year?
2008. They moved the C from the one side to the other, so where the patch was supposed to be, they just put it on the other side, and it worked just fine. Like no one made a stink about it. But the Stanley Cup, or not the Florida Panthers actual logo,
yeah,
on the crest, it has the panther, and then on top
it says Florida where it says Panthers.
I did not know
you didn't know that
home and away had one said Florida and the other one said Panthers.
You didn't know
I had no idea. I was like, holy shit, that's kind of neat. Like, how the hell would I know? I'm not looking at that logo. I mean, I still think they should bring back the cat thing.
The cat was
pretty
classic.
sweet. Yeah. So, I mean, congrats, Vegas. You really deserved it. You waited 6 long years.
6 long years, couple conference finals in those
Bunch
years.
Bunch of bitches. I hope you guys suck for the next 40 years. Speaking of sucking, Kyle Dubas got canned by the Toronto Maple Leafs. What do you think about that?
That was just a weird situation. Just with the comments he made and all that. It's just
in his press conference.
Yeah, in his conference, just like he's a weird guy.
I don't know if it was just yeah, he seems like kind of a strange dude because he is younger, but he almost postured it like, oh, I'm going to try to get more money. You know what I actually think? He knew about this Penguins offer.
Uh-huh.
I think he kind of knew, and he's like, I'm going to try and make this a little more. I'm going to use this to my advantage, right? And then this happened. So Shanahan probably was like, wait a minute, something stinks here. Like, what do you mean you need another? You don't know if I won't be anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like now you are. So I thought it was interesting. I think Dubas made a lot of good moves, some bad ones, but. And I've talked about this on the Red Wings report, and you should go look at that. A lot of people or fans will overvalue their own players, their prospects. And I think just for some reason, Luke Shen for some reason is the savior now.
How come in everything Luke Shen pops up to be the savior for anyone? He's not.
He wasn't. He was a 7th defenseman in Tampa.
No,
he didn't even play. But I'm just saying, they ran him out of town in Toronto, and then they brought him back.
Prodigal son there.
Prodigal son, and now they got to re-sign him. And I go, he's not good. He's actually pretty bad. Well, you didn't watch the playoffs. Well, I watched them. I mean,
it's
their defense is pretty bad. It's Luke Shen. He's pretty below average. But that's the thing is Dubas brought in all these guys. Oh, what more could he have done? It's yes and no, I guess. But now they have Brad Treliving, who came from Calgary. What do you think he's going to do here? Because with a new GM, what would you do if you were Brad Treliving going to Toronto?
It's hard to say. Do you keep that core forward intact? And like he said, right. It's not about the core forward, it's about the whole roster and all that. So
yeah, but is it?
I think he has to say that.
Right.
You want to try to get these guys now it's okay. Do I really want to bring back Shen? No.
But then it's kind of who are you going to get?
See who's out there.
If you want,
Ekman Larson's available.
You guys go and check out in one of my Red Wings reports. I went through a lot of trades and free agents and like who's actually out there. That didn't really work that well, guys. Sloppy poor Ferda. Anyway, I think that you kind of have to keep that core four now. Look, he's a new GM. He's not just going to give up on somebody. Like what I would say is they're not tearing it down.
No.
They would move somebody to get somebody. I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, so
right?
Without knowing who that is, you keep them together, and it's.
But then it's the same problem they've had every single offseason. And to Dubas' credit, he had changed a lot of the supporting cast.
But the one thing they never really had is a goalie.
Well, they kind of, Freddie Anderson's good, and they don't want to pay him. But now I think, I like Samsonov. I think he's a guy that, can develop, and, he played well. It wasn't like it was his fault they lost, right? Joe Swoll, can he be, a pretty solid backup? Sure. You're going to probably have to get rid of Matt Murray. You're going to have to pay somebody a draft pick to take him on. But you've got the cap situation. You can't move. Really, Tavares is not going to go anywhere. Do you resign? You have to resign Matthews.
Yeah.
They brought in Shane Doan. Do you see that?
Yeah, I saw
Shane
that.
Doan is the AGM, which is interesting since Matthews was from Arizona.
Shane Doan was his favorite player growing up.
Of course. So it's okay. I have a feeling Matthews will be back. Yeah. I don't know if he'll sign the extension right now. I don't know if he's going to make him sweat it out or what. If I was him, I would make him sweat it out. Give me more. If you really want me, you're going to pay me. But that's where lies the problem. Is he's going to make 12 mil a year. Marner's is making 11. Nylander's going to have to get re-signed too for probably 8.5 to 9. So you got all these contracts that are so bloated. Now you have not a lot of room to maneuver.
Yeah, your depth there is then.
You have to go for Luke Shen. You can't get anybody else. You have no prospects coming up. Matthew Nyes, here's another thing. Matthew Nyes is a nice player, but he's not Crosby. The only reason Toronto fans are valuing that high is because they have nobody else coming up. There's really nobody. That's the only guy, and they have no picks anymore. You know what I mean? They've got Boston's first rounder, which is great, but they moved a lot of their prospects, draft picks to try to load up the last 3 years, that's what you have to do. But now the cupboard's bare. How do you replenish it? It's by moving one of these guys, but you're trying to reload. You're not trying to rebuild. So it's going to be interesting. All I know is I've been blocking Leafs losers on Twitter like no one's business. It's been a lot of fun. Every single thing I see, no matter what. Okay, bring up a topic right now.
Okay.
Just randomly.
Any topic?
Yeah.
Hockey related or?
Yeah, you can challenge me with whatever you want.
Okay, let's go with the Matthews extension.
No, I want something not Leafs related.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I should have said that.
Okay, let's go something totally.
Yeah, totally off the wall.
We're not even gonna go hockey related.
Sure. Anything. I don't put you on the spot here, but
Bud Light's a great beer.
Bud Light's a great beer. How will this affect the Leafs concession stand prices so they can reflect to buying players on the ice with revenue share? That's the shit I'm talking. They will take anything and make it about them, right? Vegas won the Stanley Cup. What can the Leafs learn from Vegas? It's unbelievable. Or, and this is what always gets me, they'll go into the past and they'll be well, Florida was so lucky with the they basically would have won if it's you didn't. You lost in 5. You guys sucked and lost in 5. Well, what if we would have scored 7 goals a game?
What if Kachuk played? What if we didn't have the injuries?
With the penalties, the referees it's they literally will make everything about Toronto. And that's why TSN sucks. I can't stand them. And that's why even listening to Sportsnet, they're always it'll be the middle of a game between Edmonton and Colorado, and they'll be well, let's check up on the Leafs injury report. Who cares? I know who cares. Most of the people watching are Leafs fans. I get it. Yeah. But it's really, the game we're watching right now has nothing to do with Toronto.
Or it'll be these, well, let's look at this ex-Leaf here, Joe Schmo is.
Yeah, exactly. So I have blocked a lot of people because I just can't stand seeing them pop up on my feed. I don't even follow them. It's the For You thing.
Oh, yeah.
Can't stand it, man. I just yeah, you're out.
One other thing, just going back to Dubas, is once he left, Spezza left, and then
Well, that's another thing. Okay.
now he's assistant GM
Listen,
there in Pittsburgh.
Good for Jason Spezza.
Gotta love him.
Listen, so okay, he goes to Dubas, right? When he's in Toronto, Dubas goes to him and goes, hey, well, front office and kind of learn from me, whatever. And Spezza's like, yeah, sure, because like, you're a player, you don't really know.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you were in some negotiations or if you used an agent, like you have no idea behind the scenes. So, what is he, special assistant to the GM or whatever, something like that?
Assistant,
so it's like, okay, you're learning
stuff.
Yeah, you're learning. And then, okay, so then the guy that brings you on board, right, gets canned, leaves, goes and is now the president of hockey operations. He's not even actually the GM. He is right now. I think he might hire somebody. They're thinking that Pridham guy, the assistant in Toronto.
Okay.
They might bring him. But they signed Spetz as an assistant GM. So number one, that's an upgrade because you're not the special assistant. You're the assistant GM now.
Yeah.
So he's probably running the Marlies, right? Or not the Marlies. Sorry. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. I thought he was
Little Penguins.
The junior Penguins. You're going with your guy. He's the one that brought you into this world, basically. And in what I could say is, the Leafs fans are like, oh, he's obviously not loyal. Like, he doesn't bleed blue and white. It's like, listen, man, he was here for a fucking year.
He was there for a year. He's going to be loyal right now to the guy that got him the opportunity.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Toronto, right? Now, if me and you, right, were running a team, let's say you were the GM, and you're like, hey, Buschy, like, I need some help, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about this.
Baby.
Yeah,
let me bring you on.
I'm in.
Learn.
I'm in.
Want to learn?
I'm in.
All right.
Deal. Okay, that was a good shake.
That was a great.
And then I'm learning from you, and taking in your vast knowledge of the game, right?
Yep.
And then the team goes, fucking get Bobo out of here, right? He wants too much money. Get him out. Now they bring in some other guy, right?
Yep.
Let's say they bring in Hursty.
Oh, no.
They bring in Hursty as the GM, okay? And he's just going to make trade offer after trade offer. And now I've been learning from you, who's a smart individual.
Learn the waiver wire.
And now we bring in Hursty, who is a loose cannon, right?
Yeah.
If fantasy football has taught us anything. And you go to a different team, and now you're in a higher up position, and you offer me a higher up position. I get to go with you, who I've been learning from. Yeah, I'm going 100%. See you later, Hursty. You figure it out, right? Now, Hursty's Brad Trelving, ironically, both Flames. Look at how I did that full circle. So it has nothing to do with loyalty, is what I'm saying, right? To the team, it has loyalty to
nothing to the team, loyalty to the individual.
To the individual, which I don't see a problem with. If he wants to be a GM one day, that's resume building, right?
Steps in the right direction.
And they're going to have an interesting time in Pittsburgh with what they've got going on with their aging core, and like, how are they going to reload and go for it, right? So, the whole Dubas thing was interesting with like the whole Shanahan and back and forth, and it was just a lot of posturing back and forth. And I went, "This is the Leafs that I remember. This is the shit that I like," because it's Leafs Twitter was just an outrage.
You know what the Leafs I remember? The ones with Mike Babcock.
Mike Babcock's back in the league, man. he's gonna be the Blue Jackets head coach. Could you believe that? I could believe it. But I was like, huh?
When I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is first off, why?
Yeah.
Second, it's the old boys club again.
It is the old boys club.
The guys like him getting an opportunity, like Quenneville's getting
maybe,
possible opportunities. And
it's really interesting because it's like we have to have the same 32 guys getting jobs. And that's it.
Yeah.
The same 32, like always.
It's just because it's a hot name. It's a name people know.
Right.
And it's comfort. It's
instead of comfort name. Instead of finding the next guy, right? Like the Wings have done it twice in a row now with Blashill, which didn't work out, and then Lalonde, which hopefully it does. Or like the Flames just got this Huska, who was with the AHL team. There was a few other teams that brought up their AHL guy. But anyway, like they're finding the Ducks. They found a new guy, don't even know his name, like never heard of him in my life. So they're like, okay, they're gonna try and like identify a coach that's gonna grow, and like you have those younger guys. Like You think Mike Babcock has really learned anything? Maybe he has.
Maybe because he's been doing it in the college level. Right?
He did like a year. He
I
hasn't been coaching in like 2 years.
thought he was at Saskatchewan.
Yeah, for like a year.
Oh, I thought he was there for
No, he
longer.
stepped down.
No.
He stepped down. But like, how are you going to relate to some of these kids? Like, the thing is, like, what he did to Mitch Marner, it is not ideal. What he did to Franzen is unacceptable. Like, the mental health part of it, and like belittling someone that's going through that is like bullshit. And how's a guy like that gonna like? Henrik Zetterberg was feuding with him. Chris Chelios feuded with it. The whole Mike McDonald thing. We talked about that years ago when we first started this podcast about how Babcock was a scumbag. And it was years ago, man. Years ago at the Buschy and Bobo show, circa 2021. The pandemic pod. But yeah, what do you think?
Unless something has changed drastically in his methods and whatnot, I don't see it being a.
Well, how about even not even? Let's just say that's fine, but like the Blue Jackets, who do they think they are? They just got the Damon Severson 8-year deal, which I thought was nuts. You know, they're bringing on all these players. It's like, who do you guys think you are? You were like bottom 10. They were bottom 10, right? Yeah. Bottom 5. What are they picking? I don't even know where they're picking.
Find out.
I mean, the Blue Jackets, they're picking top 10. I don't know where they would be. I don't think they had a good year, did they?
No, I don't think so either.
Wait, aren't they picking like third? I think they're picking third. Yeah, they're picking third because they screwed up the draft lottery and they skipped them. Remember? Kevin Weeks said they're picking third.
Yeah,
they were third last. Actually, they were second last because Chicago jumped.
Yeah.
So they were like the worst team in the league. They hired that guy with man. What if you're Johnny Gaudreau? You got away from Daryl Sutter, now you got Mike Babcock.
That's something of a downgrade there for him.
Downgrade? It's like a lateral move. They're both old men.
It's the same old boys club.
Oh, it's going to be hilarious to see Babs.
I think he's going to be poo.
Well, I know another guy that's poo is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And you're finally free of that horrendous trade. That might have been the worst trade. Like when it happened, immediately I think everyone was like, yeah, that's not gonna work.
And we're still on the hook for 8 years now.
Is it 8 or is it another 4? Is it 8? It is 8.
Yeah, because he has 4 years left on his contract.
There's a few years where the cap hits still $4 million.
Yeah, and it's still going to be $4 million over 4 or 8 years.
So it's like they were so desperate to just get rid of this guy that they're just going to eat that money and eat the cap hit. And
we've said it before too. I thought, like, did you see him in the trail when he looked like he had a parachute on his back?
Yeah, he couldn't skate. I mean, his days in Phoenix when they were Phoenix, he was a top-notch defenseman. But this is where I think GMs they maybe overanalyze or they overvalue a player and they go and grab someone like that. Didn't they give up like a first round, like a top pick for him? And
no, the OEL trade, we got rid of Louis Eriksson.
Yeah, they got rid of Louis.
So I was happy about that.
But they got Garland too. Yeah, because another guy apparently they're shopping, right? I mean, the Canucks cap situation is pretty bad.
We're not going to be a playoff team for a while. We're just a bunch of fucking.
But the thing is like, if you're not going to be a playoff team, like, wouldn't you just keep OEL and just like try to eat a few more of those years, or like, what are they trying to do here? Like, either they're just trying to retool again, which, they have their young players. They got, a few pieces. They have Pettersson, they have Hughes, they have Demko. Like, are they trying to just like retool it, get rid of the crap that's not working, try to put their money elsewhere? They might have a plan. We'll see what they do in the offseason. But what was the trade? Like, what did they do?
So the trade was Connor Garland and Oliver Ekman-Larsson for Louis Eriksson, Jay Beagle, Antoine Roussel, a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a seventh-round.
Okay, so that first-round pick
in 2021
became Dylan Guenther. I'm pretty sure.
In 2022, second.
Yeah, which who knows?
And then 2023, seven.
Yeah. So, but again, not really a good move at all for the Canucks, and now they're paying for it. And that's where, signing these guys late in their career, like when they're 31 or 32, and you sign them to a 7-year deal, it's scary. And the thing is like, here's what I'll give the Canucks a little bit of credit is Patrick Alvin didn't sign that or make that trade, right?
No.
That was probably who they had before. I totally forget who they had before, but whoever the GM was, it wasn't Dave Milnes. It was
Like Gillis.
Gillett, was it? Whoever it was. They made the trade, right? And again, we've said this before. They're making the trade knowing that, okay, this guy's got 7 years left or whatever. I'm probably not going to be here by the end. If this doesn't work out, I'm not going to be here anyways. I don't care. I'm going to make the move, right?
Might as well make.
So now Alvin's coming into a train wreck going, all right, well, how do you want me to handle this? So this is the way, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he tried to, I'm sure the first thing they tried to do was try to trade him. But then the thing is, either nobody wanted him, right, to take on the contract, which is probably number one. Or number two, the cost for the Canucks of getting rid of him was too much draft capital or prospects, or like they had to give up too much with him to get rid of him. Right? So then option 3 is a buyout, which is what they did. Option 4 is, like I said, eating it and just letting him stay. But,
stay at home. Full Kessel with him.
Yeah, but like at this point, they're technically saving cap space. That's the technicality. They're actually saving cap space over this full time, right?
Yeah.
So you can use that money now to replace him or to have a little bit of wiggle room, right?
It just sucks that it's 4 years now, or 8 years. Sorry.
Like every team has some buyouts, right?
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's nice when they're gone, right? And like the Stephen Weiss thing when he was he was off. And then it was, sloppy pour. You got to put the cup upside down. But I screwed it up too. So that we're 2 for 2 on shit beer pours. I think it's just the Michelob. Let's just say it's the Michelob and we'll go with that.
There we go.
Right? Cheers. No fizz in that. Okay, well, moving on.
OEL's poo. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Berta.
Yep. There we go. Moving on to another GM that I think doesn't know what he's doing. So the Edmonton Oilers. Keep bagging on Ken Holland.
Okay, if there's anything in our pods that are consistent,
we are
bagging
consistent.
the Leafs and bagging Kenny Holland.
Yes, it really is. Okay, this is something that's really funny. I saw it. I threw a TikTok or a YouTube video or something. Since Ken Holland has been the GM in Edmonton, I can't confirm if this was before as well. The Edmonton Oilers don't have an OHL scout.
When you told me that originally, I was flabbergasted.
I am. How? Like, it's the biggest producer of NHL talent, right? Would be the OHL. Correct?
The whole CHL in general.
But I mean, like, now here's the interesting thing. If you look at Ken Holland's drafts with the Oilers, they pick one guy from the OHL. They don't pick anyone from the O.
But I don't understand how you can't. You gotta at least have a scout for the OHL because, said they're one of the top 3 they're.
How do you rank players?
Yeah, they're. How do you?
Like, are you just going off of like the big board? You're like, yeah, it's fine.
They're just using the auto-syn there and hoping the best.
I mean, or that's just it's interesting. I have no idea how they're doing this.
Going off of what they hear from other teams or what they I don't know. It's just it doesn't make sense when you're a top 3 producer of NHL potential NHL talent.
You know, guys that are highly rated, and it's like, you don't know how these guys look. What are you watching film? Like, they got to have some type of notes. What they're saying is they don't have a guy going to the games and actually watching them. Is that what they're saying?
I don't know. Or are they going off of, okay, we're just going to contact this GM. How is this guy?
I guess you can do that, and probably every team does that. But like, you need to go and watch these games, right?
Yeah. So if I'm a GM, I'm going to pump up my guys. Yeah. Fucking.
But you need to actually physically watch the game.
Well, exactly.
You can watch tape all you can. Yeah,
you can watch tape, and I could pump you up. I can watch tape, or Holland can watch tape on you, and I could pump your tires until they explode.
Yeah, and it would never make a difference. That's why we're sitting where we are right now.
Yeah.
For sure. So I thought that was interesting. If they don't have an OHL scout, figure that one out. There was some interesting penalty rules in the I think it's the CHL, but it's like is it the Swift or what is that?
Like the
Champions
Hockey
League or whatever. They're changing some penalty rules, which I want to get your opinion on. Number one was a minor penalty is 2 minutes no matter what. If they score, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Number two was if you score a shorthanded goal, it negates your penalty. So if you score like 30 seconds into a penalty,
so it's like a reverse
yes,
power play.
Right. It's penalizing the power play team. Like if you get scored on, you don't deserve the power play. And I kind of forget the last one. There was an interesting one too, though, where it was like those two were the ones that I really liked. You'd have to probably Google the other one. If you type in CHL penalty rules, it'll probably pop up. But like, do you think that's something interesting?
The first one I absolutely like.
Yeah.
The 2 minutes.
It was. I think it was. If you're the penalty kill team, you can't ice it. I forget. Maybe that wasn't it, but I would like to see that as well. That'd be kind of interesting. If there would still be icing if you fire it down, right?
I do like the 2 minutes no matter what. I think you get a little more action on the game there, and you get more shots, you get more goals, which in the NHL, that's what they're all about, right? That's what they want to see.
That's what they say they're all about.
They're all about money,
but they're all about money, of course.
But I do like that. As for the other one, that would be interesting. I'm not leaning heavy one way or another on it.
The NHL will never do it.
No, they would never do it.
But if it works and it's fun, like there's a different league trying it out, and if they're like, oh, no,
I'd be interested to see that. Like, you know how in MLB, in AAA, they started like with all of the changes from last year in MLB for this year.
It's kind of the same.
I'd like to see it sort of like how to adapt in like maybe the ECHL.
Sure.
Or whatnot.
Yeah, roll it out for like a year before, see if this actually works.
Then let it tier it up. So
yeah, you have your feeder leagues. You should, try to do it that way, see if it works, right?
But like I could see the NHL implementing like the 2 minutes no matter what. Like,
it could be interesting, right? Because like, if you score on a power play, like why am I getting penalized for like?
Yeah.
Why is he getting off scot free, right?
Take it off the whole. You get the whole advantage of it. So.
Yeah, exactly. So. I think that would be something interesting to do. Speaking of rules and, going through free agency, and I think this is something we could probably, with free agency, this is something that comes up every single year, and it happens in these armchair GMs that I just did on Cap Friendly, but offer sheets. Like, everybody talks about offer sheets like they're happening all the time. When then the reality is it's extremely rare. Like the last one that I remember is Sebastian Aho, and then just Jesperi Kotkaniemi was the last one that actually worked. Was the Hurricanes offer sheeting Kotkaniemi, and they didn't match it. It's all right, see you later. They took the compensation.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're not as prevalent in the league as maybe people think they would be? Do you have any theories for that?
No.
All right, moving on.
No.
No. Oh man.
I think teams may just like they don't necessarily value that compensation pick.
So do you think it's just not enough? Because
I don't think it's enough for.
Well, the way that it's tiered is interesting because it depends on how much money you're actually giving a player.
Okay.
So like you can how the compensation works, right?
In the NHL.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So like, all right. So if you don't know, this is interesting. So there's a tiered system in terms of, okay, if I offer sheet somebody, like I go to this restricted free agent and go, I'm going to offer you $8 million for 7 years, right?
Okay.
The $8 million is what determines what the draft pick compensation is. So like there's different tiers. So if I offer somebody like $1 million, there's no compensation. It's not, right?
Nothing.
If I go up to certain, like again, we'd have to pull that up, but like if you go over a certain amount, like $9 million, it might be like 4 first-round draft picks. It might be 3 first-round draft picks, right? So it's a heavy toll to like sign these guys. Now the way that this works too is, there are some teams that like physically wouldn't be able to match an offer sheet based on their actual draft picks. Like I look at a team like Toronto, like if they had an RFA that I wanted that was worth something, and I know that they don't have a second, third, I can offer sheet the guy, and if he signs it, they can't match it, right? So, like, it's something where with the restricted free agent, I think the way that the GMs would have to look at that is, okay, let's say your player gets offer sheet, they sign it, right?
Yeah.
You go, okay, it's for $5 million. Is that something I'd want to pay him? Okay, we were hoping for 4. So let's say, right? We're hoping for a little bit less. The term is fine. Let's say, okay, but what's the compensation? Okay, it's a first round and a second rounder. Now, if I take myself outside of this restricted free agent thing, and I just went to another team, or another team came to me and offered me a first rounder and a second rounder for that player, would I do it?
Yeah.
Because if the answer is yes, then I think I take the compensation, right? If it's, well, no, I would want a lot more, you probably match and you sign them, right? And maybe you try to trade them for more later. So it's like all asset management. So like my theory would be the compensation versus like the money might not line up perfectly for this to actually happen, for it to be successful. Like, I think offer sheets are only in extreme circumstances where you try to take advantage of a team. The other thing too is, like, if we're both GMs of a hockey team and I go and offer sheet one of your players, I think it's something that, like, it's kind of unspoken, like, kind of don't do that. You know what I mean? Where I don't care. You have that relationship of like, okay, I don't want to, like, it's a blind side. It really is. Yeah. Or it's, I go to you and go, okay, I just want to let you know we're throwing an offer sheet at so-and-so, we're not trying to, screw you over, but we really like him as a player.
Yeah.
So unless you want to make a trade, we're going to offer sheet him. If he signs it, let us know, right? So I think that might be a big reason why as well.
Could be. Yeah. Could be, because you don't want to necessarily burn any bridges for a team that you want to possibly trade with down the line. And
of course, I mean, if you can get an asset, for those picks, and you sign on to what you think he's worth, then great. But like Timo Meier, 40 goals this year, he's restricted free agent, and I think he's talking with the Devils and probably will sign an 8-year deal. But like, if you wanted to go offer sheet him, I think the Devils match it no matter what. Like, no matter what you give them. But also the compensation would be insane. So like, you'd have to really be careful, because if you go to them and offer them offer Meyer an insane contract, and the Devils go for it, we'll take 4 first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Fine, we'll go and trade these 2 firsts for someone that's like him, and then keep the other 2. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Now we have flexibility. Like, there's all these things you can't just go and like dick around and be like, oh, we'll pump it up. I don't think GMs do that to try to inflate another team's like cap situation. You very much. But you could screw yourself too if you're like, oh, this guy's not worth or whatever.
No, they're not going to take it,
or if a team doesn't have the cap space, like they'd have to find a way to create that cap space before they match the offer sheet. So I think that's why offer sheets don't happen that much in the NHL. So it's an interesting rule that they have, but I don't think it's something is really going to like pop up that much. It pops up way too much for people like, 18 candidates for an offer sheet. It's like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to find those extreme circumstances. Last thing we want to talk about isn't even anything to do with hockey.
No, in fact, you should switch your cap on. But
yeah, let's do that. Over here, knock shit over. Me and Bobo went.
So we went to a Major League Baseball game to go see the Detroit Tigers.
Yep, eat them up, Tigers. Eat them up.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, we went to a Tigers game, in Detroit there, and I just, there's a few things that I really need to like clarify.
First off, what a great time just being back at a game.
I know, right? It was cool. Like, I didn't really give a shit.
Yeah, we didn't really give a shit.
They won though.
They won in extra innings.
And they came back in the 7th. No, they got tied up in the 9th, right?
Tied it in the 9th, and they won in the 10th.
But the thing is like, it still was like, the game itself was pretty boring other than that, but like, it was cool to go. Like, we literally bought like the cheapest tickets ever.
Went over, had some beers, had some pizza. And
yeah, because Brass Rail's pretty good too.
It was.
That pizza was actually kind of dynamite. I'd love to go back.
Oh, absolutely.
I definitely will next time. Got myself a Miggy jersey because the one that I have is actually framed. Yeah. And, that's just how it goes. So I wanted another one because the guy's a legend. He's been shit for like 3 years, but he is a legend.
He's a Triple Crown winner.
I'm not going to buy anyone else's jersey on that team.
No, you want to go get a
Javi Baez swinging with a fucking canoe paddle and he's still swinging outside and missing it. But like the thing with going to games, I guess, and it's not even just like going to a baseball game or a hockey game. There's always people around you that are just like obnoxiously like shut the fuck up, basically, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Every game we go to now. To be fair, we sat in like 4 or 5 different places. We were walking around. This was Memorial Day weekend for the States. Like we're Canadian, we didn't realize that. I didn't. But we went over there and like there was a lot of people there that showed up. Our tickets were technically like almost behind home plate, like in a 300 level.
Yeah, the upper bowl there.
Yeah, which is fine. Like it's technically in the shade, and it was a hot day. But we sat in K-Line's corner for a little bit, which was fine.
Sat in the bleachers.
Yeah, we kind of went in a few different places, but the last place we went was kind of generally where our seats were.
Yeah. And
that guy behind us, this big, fat, bearded butthole, is just yapping like.
He doesn't know anything about baseball. He's like, why is this happening? Why is that happening?
But he's just the whole time just, it's hard. Like, shut up.
USA.
There's 15 people around you, like probably 50 people around you. You're the only one that's talking. He's like talking about his job. You know what I mean? It's like, well, in the timber industry, blah, 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 blah. You just talk.
In the timber industry.
I don't know. I don't give a fuck, okay? I don't care about your fucking job. No one else does either.
No, yeah, and if your person that you're with does care, like you said, bring
right.
it to one of them.
Like that girl that was with, like, really, you're with this clown? Okay. He's way bigger, so we couldn't fight him.
No.
Yeah, there's no way. So
he would sit on us.
I don't fight. You don't fight either.
I look like I could fight because I'm tattooed.
Oh my god, you're so tatted up. Yeah. But anyway, this clown at one point
starts talking Red Wings.
He starts talking Red Wings. Oh, okay. So I'm kind of like listening a little bit, right? And this is where I kind of go, sometimes there's some Red Wings fans out there. Listen, I love you guys, right? We all love the same team. We bleed red and white. But some of you are pretty dumb. You're pretty dumb. And this guy was
confirmed.
He was the president of the dumb Red Wings. I don't even know if he was a fan. He was talking with I don't know who about the 1997 Red Wings. Okay, yeah. I mean, he's probably around my age, so he doesn't really remember it. I mean, I've watched the tapes, and you see it every year. March 26th, right? The whole brawl with Colorado, Detroit. And this guy's describing what happens. And he's talking about Claude Lemieux.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he turtles, and he talks about how, now listen carefully, how Darren McCarthy was the one that was just pounding him, man. He was just pounding. McCarthy was just raining down.
Just McCarthy.
He didn't say it once. He said it 48 times, McCarthy. And I'm sitting there fucking seething. And just like this, and I'm looking
at a Red Wings fan, and I
fucking say something.
And I'm just like,
I swear to Christ, if he says Lindstrom, I'm going to snap.
I'm just sitting there just like, come on, bud. Like, if you're a fan, know your players' names.
Or just shut up.
Well, that too.
Yeah, but McCarthy, it's like you, and no one said anything to him. I really wanted to be like, it's McCarty. You don't know what you're talking about.
You were too busy stuffing your face with your frozen lemonade.
Oh, frozen lemonade gave me such a stomachache. Okay, speaking of food, listen, you fuck. We listen, we got the crappiest hot dogs there, and like the bun was all like crunched in, and it was just like
soggy,
gross fucking hot dog, right? That was just broiled, probably. They didn't grill that.
They put it in the water.
Yeah, it was in the hot dog. Yeah, 100%.
Rubbery.
Yeah. So we take it, we go to the condiment station, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I go, well, I know they're not gonna have onions or anything, but this is what you put on a hot dog. 1,000,000%. Everyone's gonna agree with me. You put mustard and you put onions, okay? Those are the two. That's the number one. No, what do you put on it?
You put on ketchup.
You gremlin. A ketchup, what are you, 5?
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you? Ketchup is for kids.
A little ketchup. I should have done a little mustard, but
yeah, listen, okay. If you would have put ketchup and mustard, I would have given you a point. But
Well,
you just put
I just did ketchup.
like a fucking child.
Wasn't feeling the mustard.
Why not?
Just wasn't.
Mustard is the condiment.
It's baby shit.
No! Mustard is the elite condiment, okay? Mustard is elite. Ketchup is just sugary, watery crap.
Sugary, watery.
It goes on French fries. It goes on French fries, okay? And if you listen, you're one, you dip your chicken nuggets in that shit, don't you?
No.
Yeah, you do.
Buffalo
you
sauce.
go get your chicken. You get your chicken fingers.
Yeah, give me my buffalo sauce. Give me my hot sauces.
Listen, I don't want to see you do that ever again.
Guess what? It's gonna happen.
You're lucky we were on the 300 level and there was no one else around us because I had secondhand embarrassment so bad I almost walked away from it. So there's no fucking way. How am I friends with you?
I don't know.
It's just ketchup on a fucking hot dog.
You're drunk.
I mean, we were, but you know what? The dogs went down.
Dogs went down. Tigers won.
They did, but I said
so. Team ketchup, team mustard,
team roasted almonds.
Oh, that's why you're friends with me.
Well, the roasted almond, I know they were a little bit subpar because they weren't
fresh.
And the lady at the cash there was just like, "What do you want?" Here, like literally, it was just like, "Eat it, pig." Like,
eat the slop.
Okay, thanks. Right, and there's like a tip option. Nope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy fuck! I know you hate your job, but like, come on. And then also, I wanted to get Dippin' Dots, but we didn't have time to get Dippin' Dots.
Okay,
and I would have puked my brains out.
Are you a fan of cashless only?
Cashless only, like in terms of being at a game.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they don't have cash anywhere.
Yeah. Or America has no like they don't take cash. Little Caesars doesn't take cash.
Really, I didn't know that. I mean, I haven't brought cash to a game in years. Probably like pre-COVID, and that was really funny when I was talking with my dad, and when we went to the game, he's like, "So you got cash?" I'm like, "No." What do you need cash for? Wait, my paper money? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if someone robbed you on the street? They're like, "Give me all your money. I'll give you all my coins." Well, you gonna like flip me upside down and shake me so all the coins drop out like fucking Scrooge McDuck? I don't carry cash, man. Take my card and I'm gonna cancel it in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I still carry cash.
You want my receipts? Oh, that's good to know. Everybody, Bobo has cash on him right now that you can go and take from him. I don't have nothing. What do you got in there?
Not much. I don't carry much cash.
$15.
I carry just a little bit of cash.
What are you gonna buy with that?
A gumball.
Worms?
Probably.
Big fisherman. This guy's a big fisherman. Like, listen, we could have done in a pod like probably 3 weeks ago. But Brian here was fishing every night, and he was catching largemouth bass that were like huge, right? Mounted them all on the wall. Was having fish fries every night. Didn't get invited once.
My bad.
I got to renew my license.
You do.
I told you I would like to go. I'd like to go fishing.
All right, I got a couple new spots this year.
I know you do. You've been out in Aberg.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's out in fucking Boonies,
Canard, out in Colchester.
But listen, man. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I can do it because I work late.
All right.
And I work out that way. I wasn't joking. I'll go with you. I don't give a shit. Whatever to be with my Bobo. Although, if we're having snacks, we can't have ketchup.
Okay, I'll bring the roasted almonds.
I'll go with the roasted almonds for sure. Okay. I think we've talked about everything that we wanted to talk about. I really wanted to get that ketchup thing off my chest. Because you deserve that.
Team ketchup still.
So subscribe to our channel, like the video, leave a comment if you'd like about his disgusting.
Yeah, are you team ketchup or team mustard?
Yeah, guy loves Oliver Ekman Larson and ketchup.
Hey, don't give me that all.
We should buy out all the ketchup too. Get rid of it. So until next time, let's follow Buschy and Bobo, follow the Red Wings Report. We have a lot more content coming your way. And then until next time, we're going to be talking probably at that point, draft and free agency, lots of stuff happening. Yeah. And then we've got the whole off season to just kind of dick around and we can just do some fun stuff.
Just tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'll just we'll just tug it. Until next time, it's the Buschy and Bobo show signing off. Talk to you guys soon.
Wear a rubber.